As Iowa caucus results are being delayed over, and this is a quote, inconsistencies in voter data reported through that new mobile app. Only a small percentage of precincts have actually been counted, leaving everyone in election limbo. With us now to discuss this is Mattie Duppler, well known to us here at Yahoo Finance, National Taxpayers Union Senior Fellow. She is joining us from Washington, D.C. It's been a long time, Mattie. It's good to see you.
Hey, guys. Good to be with you.
So, the president went after the Democrats in Iowa, pointing out that they can't even do that. You want them to run a country? What do you make of this?
I mean, Adam, there's hard to see who's a bigger winner than Donald Trump at the end of this Iowa caucus mess. And remember, tonight is the State of the Union address. So while the president is highlighting the economy, things that he's done in his administration, the whole theme in the State of the Union is the great American comeback. That, of course, implies that you're coming back from something bad, right? And the president, I think, will point out that that's something that Americans are coming back from are disarray on the Democratic side. Now, Iowa, we'll see what happens over the next couple of hours. State officials there say that they're going to release data once they can be confident that they have the right results and that they know that the transparency that is in place has benefited the process itself. But you already saw candidates try to get ahead of the news. You saw Pete Buttigieg claiming victory. And all of these candidates, of course, too, have plans to leave Iowa and go on to the next state in New Hampshire. And the real question really isn't who wins in Iowa, right? They have a spotty history of picking the actual winner. The question is what this just does for inertia in the race, particularly when the bench is so wide on the Democratic side. That's why I think Donald Trump is the winner coming out of Iowa last night.
Hi, Mattie. It's Matt. And I guess we're curious about Michael Bloomberg here skipping the Iowa caucuses and moving along. And because he's not a part of this fiasco, is that actually a relative win for him? See, he's jumping up in the polls relative to Joe Biden, although Bernie Sanders is still ahead. Could this mean it's a better outcome for him than before?
I mean, Bloomberg's whole strategy is a brokered convention. So for him, he's skipping the first four early states. That's why those other contenders, particularly Warren, Sanders, Buttigieg, Iowa was so important for them to show that they have staying power. With Bloomberg, it will be interesting to see. Of course, the DNC has now said that they're going to change their debate rules as well, which will allow Bloomberg to get on the stage and debate with some of these candidates. That's been a missing component of his candidacy. But when it comes to the Democrats, what they're lacking most is unity. And that is traditionally a very difficult thing to achieve when you have 24 or 25 people running for president. Even now, if there's only a handful remaining, that still is a problem for Democrats who want to say we have an alternative to Donald Trump, because right now there's probably 6 or 7 campaigns that are trying to make the case that their approach is the one that can take out Donald Trump. And I don't think any single one of those has been able to gain traction as a result.
Mattie, Dan Roberts here. Good to have you back on. We're hearing a lot about the app that was at play here, which was called Shadow. And supposedly, according to some reports, the same app was going to be used in Nevada. And it's like, here we are again with the Dems and technology issues and bungling the tech side of things. What are you hearing in D.C. about the app that was used in Iowa?
Well, there are two different conversations happening about the app problem. One is that it was built by consultants who worked in the Clinton campaign, so cue the conspiracy theories there. Secondly, one of the criticisms about Iowa and how much power it holds, particularly over these caucuses, is the fact that it is not reflective of the country as a whole, but it is reflective of people who tend to vote. That is, that it is much older than the country is, particularly those who are voting in Democratic primaries. So the question is, who have we put in charge of the technology, and whether or not that is good for the caucus and for the electoral process, and whether or not it's reflective of the people who will actually be voting in the general. I think right now the problems that we're seeing in Iowa with the Democratic Party and trying to use this new technology really raises questions about how they're going to handle this process moving forward. Because remember, this is only the beginning. It's only February, guys. We got a long road to go until we're at that general in November.
And on that point, Mattie, we all watch this stuff closely. We talk about what happened in Iowa with the app, Are most people paying attention to this? Are they paying attention to Iowa at all? Are they going to? Yeah. I mean, Democrats are going to vote Democratic in the general, no matter what happens in Iowa, right? So, in other words, how important is this whole thing really?
Well, look what happened in 2016, right? You had more people staying home than turning out to vote. So really, when it comes down to what these candidates need, they need to energize voters to come out and vote for their campaign when they are the nominee, which again goes back to that question of disunity. When you have a divisive primary, you're going to alienate some of those voters that you need to turn out in the general. Now, I think that what this really comes down to is June or July. That's when voters' sentiments on the economy tend to crystallize. That's when these campaigns will be most important. That's when the messages that they're trying to send voters about the vision they have for the country moving forward are really going to start to take hold. Right now, these next couple months, I think it's going to be a little more mudslinging, a little more drama, a little more question about technology and whether or not we can entrust politicians with it. But June or July is when you want to start looking at that economic data and seeing if voters are really starting to pay attention.